Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Oh my goodness, to everyone, all of my friends and colleagues from around the world. I'm Sarah Shuey. I'm the founder and CEO of Happily, if you didn't know. We are the largest network of virtual and live event specialists. And I come on to LinkedIn Live and YouTube Live every once in a while on Wednesdays around 2s kind of thing. I'm starting a little bit early today. But anyways, like the algorithms, it just sort of like, I'm here whenever I'm here with you, and happy to be here. I bring up a friend and a colleague to share things that are going on in our wild world. And today I'm really excited because I'm bringing up a really super long time friend of mine, Kevin Cohen, who is the owner of Stun Gun Productions. And Kevin is a graduate of Cal Arts. So already we know that he's like a boss because Cal Arts like just has like the best people come out of there. And he's got a background in lighting design and theater design, technical direction, media production, environmental design, exhibits, and of course, all of that rolls up into him being one of the most brilliant, imaginative experience creators and creative directors that I know, and now you will know too. So Kevin, I'm going to go a little bit more about him. And I'm going to actually, maybe Kevin, I'm just going to ask you to like introduce yourself a bit more, if you don't mind, but a little bit more hype, because Kevin is really going to be so humble about everything that he is all about. So this is where I get to like brag about my friends and how cool they are. He's worked with Walt Disney's Imagineering, Adidas, MGM, Nike, Universal, Sun Microsystems. Woo, that's a throwback. And we met at TED, and he's always been such a generous, gracious human being. It's so great to like have somebody that's also like, in the space of experiences and events to just talk to and think about the world and how we connect with each other in a very special and unique way. So anyways, that's that. Kevin, come up, say hello. Woo.
Hello.
Kevin, I mean, I'd love for you, if you don't mind, like to just share a little bit of your story and how you got into this. Because it seems like you were, well, what was your degree in Cal Arts?
It was design, theater design. I had a crazy my background. So my father was a theatrical lighting designer, and so as a kid, I grew up at Disneyland, and he worked at Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm. And so since I can remember, like 6 years old till I was 10, I would go to Disneyland every single summer, every single day, and try and find things to do. And seems great, like for the first 4 days. And then every summer after that, you had to find a lot of stuff to do. And so
Did we talk about this? Because like I also grew up in Disneyland and Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh, really?
Like, are we finding this out about each other like right now? I mean, my dad wasn't as cool as your dad. Like I was just homeschooled, and he didn't know what else to do. So he's like, oh, let's take the kids like to the theme park. But like, that's awesome.
No, and it was great. And it was back in the days when there were tickets. And so like I had a little hustle. I had a pass to get in and out. And then I would go and get tickets from people who were leaving and try and kind of like, say, hey, can I get your tickets? And then I'd be able to go back in later in the afternoon and go on rides again for a while. And then I just had to go explore and find things to do. It was really fun.
God, but you're right. Like after a while, it's like, oh, it's not that fun anymore. But yeah. It's amazing because you get to see behind the scenes and like get to like see how like everything works together.
I grew up with that little, backstage pass, and I could go anywhere I wanted when I was a kid. It's kind of stayed with me all the way through. Yeah, he worked at a theater, and I would spend all my days in the theater back there. And then after that, he left and got into giant, big, silly events such as Olympics, Super Bowl halftime shows, and I grew up doing lighting on the field and putting stuff together with him, which was again really fun and really informative. And it seems extraordinary, but growing up doing it, it didn't feel extraordinary. It just felt normal. And so that after a bunch of that, I ended up.
Really great.
Yeah, it was delightful. And then I fell in love with amusement parks. I lived in Japan for a while, doing a World Expo. So after I got a little bit older, I went and actually ran a pavilion in Osaka for a year. And it was a water fantasium. So we had water and fire and lasers. And, this is in the early 90s. And it was all so exciting at the time.
I mean, it's still exciting. Every time I see like any kind of like water, like fountain, like even like walking down the neighborhood and I see someone's got a water fountain, I'm like, Coco, listen, do you hear the water fountain? But like a water fantasium sounds amazing.
It sounds amazing. And my job was to fix it when it would break every night.
Did you put like a snorkel on and like go?
No, I learned one of my favorite Korean word is chunghwa, which is the waders that you would have to wear to go into the pool and fix the fountains every night. Yeah. So then this is the long form. And then out of that, I loved everything so much, but I was really intrigued about kind of I love the technology and what I was doing, but then I got to realize I want to actually design and learn how this all, is created. So that led me to Cal Arts, and that's where studied theater design and fell in love with art, fell in love with giant, massive screens and technology. And after graduating from Cal Arts, I ended up, I worked at Imagineering for a while, again, in this theme park world. But then I realized in the theme park world, things weren't happening quick enough. Like it's these long-term projects that are amazing, but they, it takes 3 or 4 years to actually, get one of these pavilions or rides off the ground. So that took me back into the show world. And I started doing corporate shows, but it was for PlayStation at the time. And I realized, oh my gosh, I can take everything that I learned at, from the amusement park and kind of the big show. And then my secret desire of doing video art allowed me to kind of smash that in there, and I could secretly create video art. And PlayStation and all of the game makers would actually kind of fund it, and I got paid for it. It was crazy. It was so much fun.
I'm looking at your work. This is your work right here, right, with PlayStation, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, this was one of my favorite shows. We were at the Shrine Auditorium, and it was the idea of we wanted to actually take games and put them into a theatrical environment, and so really make it feel like theater. And I love theater, and so we started with a red drape, closed, big 90-foot drape, and had a full orchestra, 66-person orchestra. And we had Bear McCreary was our composer, and he actually did the overture for God of War. And we did a 2-minute overture. We had Icelandic singer, a men's choir. It was like it was such a wonderful feeling. And then as the drape lifted, we revealed that it was basically a giant screen, but the floor was a screen and all the sides were a screen. And then
we had a screen too?
Three-dimensional. Yeah. So you see the floor there?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I kind of see it like a little bit right here, right?
Yep, exactly. Well, and it's also, the shrine is a really steep, there's 6,000 people in the shrine. And so it gets really steep in the upper balconies, and I wanted everybody to be able to see. And so what happened is then we had the game developer actually started playing the game for real time. And this was one of the most extraordinary things, is because when you're playing a game, it's truly interactive and you don't know timing, you don't know what's going to happen. Bear, the composer and conductor of the orchestra, had to listen and watch the game and in real time conduct the orchestra. So as you know, the lead character, as Kratos, would move to a certain area, he would then pull the orchestra into that. And then if something happened and he slipped on the ice, it was almost like jazz. He had to move then the entire orchestra off into a different section. And it was real-time gameplay, real-time orchestra, all coming together. It was
wow.
That was really fun.
Looks really great too. You've got like a bunch of screens underneath.
Yes. And again, and this again, I learned that at Cal Arts. I just love video art and large-scale video art and multiple screens and weird shaped screens. And so you can see kind of on some of those other examples as a a
This
lot.
this one is so cool too.
Yeah, that again, I can go on forever on all of these.
I know,
What
sorry.
interesting on
Like,
this?
it's
No, no,
amazing.
I love this stuff. I really, I'm a nerd for it. What we if you bring that back up, what was cool is those were giant boxes, and so we made as 3D mapping was just kind of coming out. I wanted to actually create, instead of making digital 3D maps, we made the actual set three-dimensional
Right.
boxes. And so it was super exciting to try and project. It was about 100 feet wide by about 50 feet wide. And then you could make them all either sing together or have the individual screens.
That's totally the smartest choice. I mean, did you go to the Eamon Tobin
Yes.
concert? He did the same thing, right? Where it was like a bunch of things, and I was like, that's so brilliant.
Yeah, it's so neat too, because again, the quality of light and the unpredictability of light, at least for me, is you project on these different surfaces how, when you have your focal planes on those foreground screens, there's a beautiful quality as they go back that 6 feet, and so it gets a little diffuse behind them as well. And so we got to do a lot of mock-ups to try and actually kind of use these unpredictability of light to make images that you can otherwise create.
And like, okay, so I mean, like you make the talking about light, it like just reminds me of like real world events, and the quality of light. And PlayStation just recently had their big like PlayStation 5 release, right? So how did
Yes.
you take like the grandeur of the experiences that you make and pivot that to virtual?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool. It was we got hit as we were planning, and but we were able to kind of try and find, use motion graphics to create those moments of light and those moments that kind of would give respites and give kind of the sense of wonder and help kind of pepper the show. And it was a large team that all, these are all large teams, but there were some brilliant creatives that kind of worked and helped create these transitions that became almost this kind of light moments of theatrical kind of I don't know how to describe it, this light quality of just kind of letting things breathe and giving you that moment of wonder and awe before you kind of turn the fire hose back on to the next thing.
I just like stole this thing from, I don't know, some guy's YouTube. So I'm not sure if this is like the official one. But
There's a lot of them out there.
right, because everyone's so hype about like the release of this. It's such a big show, and there's so much like anticipation. You were telling me a little bit about your creative process, and I would love for you to share with us a bit about how you actually like do like pull your storyboards together, and like how you've been like pulling in like different teams like remotely to create all of this like beautiful work.
Yeah, so the way that and I've worked this way for years, and I think it came out of doing theater and kind of old school theatrical design is I'm a big card. I love index cards and post-it notes. And so as I was telling you, like on the other side of the screen is a giant bulletin board, and it's full of cards and post-it notes. And I need to see everything together and see how actually all the components and how the segments of the show work together. And using the theatrical background, I typically break everything's into acts. And as I break down the acts, I call it a visual showfo, where I can see at a glance exactly who's on stage, what they're talking about, what the segment is, where we have problems, where we have, transitions, and how we get to, the final conclusion. And it's what's nice about it is it's number one, 100% visual, and number two, because it's all pins and post-it notes, it's always moving and changing and evolving. And again, I know most people are using, lots of kind of online tools and, active sheets, but I still am super old school. I draw pictures and sketch, and I sketch out every moment, and I like to see every frame all laid out together.
I think that makes it for much. I think that like opens up more creativity because it's easier to throw a card away. It's easier to like move them into a different space. And like, whereas like when you, I don't know, like the typing of things, it just feels so like it's stuck there, like putting it into like a sheet or a cell. It's like it's almost like too constraining. It like leaves you almost in a way where when I feel like when you write something down, it's like it's more of like a memento or like a memory. I don't know. It's just
Well, and there's something that's less precious. I mean, there's two things. There's less precious about it because my sketches are just are only to depict the idea, and I have no problem, writing over them and messing them up and cutting them up and putting the top of the bottom. But also one of the things that I early on in my career made a decision is still obviously live heavily in a digital world, but whenever I start a project, it always starts on paper. And it always starts as a sketch. And as I try to start, ideating using digital devices or, CAD or programs, anything like that, I found that I would fall back really quickly on tools that I knew, shapes that I had, symbols that I had. And all of a sudden, there started to be this kind of sameness to the designs. And so by eliminating that and one of the things that's nice about my drawing skills is because they're limited, they're really malleable and they can kind of change, and I don't fall into things. They are truly just to kind of get the brain onto paper, and I'm not embarrassed of how ugly or sometimes they're beautiful, but it's just.
I want to see. Will you pull one?
I don't have any good ones in front of me.
Of course you do. I'm like, I also think that like they're all probably awesome.
but it's nice, and again, and it's because I like to go quick too. It's the bar napkin. I like back when we travel, I love sitting in bars at a hotel, and I have a lot of cocktail napkins that show
posters, right?
All those ideas. Yeah, I like that. The set it the shrine that you were showing earlier was a cocktail napkin, and I can tell you the exact hotel I was sitting at that we were all brainstorming and then drawing out the idea.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love it. And so like when you're doing these meetings with your clients, like do you put like a camera like up and show them like the cards and move it around, or how do you translate that?
So again, I used when we would get together, pre-COVID, it would be a real-time work session, and we would just sketch and kind of pin everything up real time in the studio. Now, I do a lot of I draw, put it into, and then I use Keynote for everything after that because it's super convenient, and then I share that with them, and then we work kind of real time that way, and I really love like live. Then at that point now it's in Keynote, and now it's just kind of moving everything around real time on screen. And then a lot of times there's a quick little drawing that then gets snapped into it.
Awesome. Okay, so we're like kind of at time because I got to like jump at the 12 mark, which makes me sad because I like love seeing you and I want to talk to you all day long. But I'm going to close out with a little game if you're willing to play.
Oh, I'm willing.
Okay, so I made up this game and it's called something like Good Name, Bad Search. And what I did was I went on LinkedIn and I typed in your name, and then I pulled the pictures. There was a lot of Kevin Cohens. You are the coolest, hands down. And this game is going to demonstrate how really, truly, I am not bluffing on this one. So what I did was I pulled together these pictures of Kevin Cohen's, and your job is going to be, and also their titles, and your job is going to be to figure out who is Kevin Cohen.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we've got three here. We've got Kevin Cohen, the president of a motoring accessories company. Kevin Cohen, the venture partner of a securities company. and Kevin Cohen, the architectural designer. We'll just go ABC. They're
Okay.
they're all in blazers.
All right. I think the architect's in the center.
Okay.
What was it? Auto parts?
Yeah, I think president of a motoring accessories. I guess
That's going to be the gentleman on the right, at least on my right, above the word company.
okay.
The financial executive is over there on the left. That he looks very serious and ready to manage your money. Yeah, he's. That is my guess.
Okay. Almost actually, the motor parts guy is in the center.
Wow.
I know, right?
Wow.
The thing.
Okay.
Anyway,
I see it.
Thanks for playing the game. I think you almost there was no prize like win or lose.
This is like a wait, don't tell me. I mean, this is fantastic.
Kevin, what's up for you next? What are you focused on?
We are right in the thick of working on a digital CES for our friends at Sony, and it is exciting, insane. I love CES, but it definitely is the holiday, the Grinch that stole your holiday. But it's fascinating. Look at all of the top tech companies trying to figure out how to be tech companies. it sounds easy, but my gosh, it's been crazy. Yeah, so we're doing some really exciting stuff. In fact, I'm going to get to go out on a stage today and start shooting some new technology, which we haven't been on stage in a while. So
wow,
very excited.
Is it new technology that they created, or just new technology to you? Oh, cool.
New technology that they're sharing and it's movie making and kind of watching this amazing evolution of movie making and how kind of movie makers are embracing this work from home, because all of us are doing it, and working from home, mixing at home, doing special effects at home, building games at home is really exciting. And so we're seeing some neat tools to do that.
Yeah. Do you think the statement is true? Like the virtual event sort of out of necessity has like caused the event space to become more theatrical, more cinematic?
Certainly more cinematic. The one thing that I still am trying to figure out is that there's that my favorite moment in theater is sitting in the chair and right before the curtain goes up, and that you just have this tension, this kind of palpable feeling of what is on the other side. And I'm so primed and ready to have this experience. I'm ready for my willing suspension of disbelief. And I am still trying to find that way to put that into digital events. How do you have that, not like, I'm just finishing this call and I'm going to jump in. Like there's all of those layers, that pre-show, going through the concessions, finding your seats, everything that does that. And there's been a few that have done, Geffen did a nice job of kind of creating a house manager moment before they did a digital play. But I'm still trying to find that. How do you have that moment of just, I'm so excited to see what's on the other side of this?
Yeah. Well, I think it has a lot to do with like the person, because I felt like that, like coming in to talk to you. So it might be happening more than you think. Your standard of excellence is maybe a little bit higher than the rest of us. Kevin, thank you so much for coming in and chatting with me and the rest of the LinkedIn, YouTube, happily universe. So great to meet you. And everyone make sure to find Kevin on LinkedIn, follow him, and connect with him. And we'll see you around.
Yeah, my pleasure. I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
I know. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
So that is that, folks. The last thing I wanted to say was come to our holiday party. We have a holiday party. You are all invited. That's going to happen next Wednesday. Just go to RSVP at happily.io/buy2020. We cannot wait to let this one go. And we'd love to see you there. We'll have karaoke, which I will be hosting. We will have tarot, which Christy from our team is hosting. Lyndon from our team is going to be bringing in some new rave dance floor vibes, and we'll have some other special prizes and more. So hopefully we will see you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and talk to you later. Bye.